Good morning. This video is going to review assignment 2, and this is what I mentioned to everyone last week, that this is the YouTube tutorial going over this handout and going over each section of the handout, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over the instructions and the formatting, and then I'll go review the rest of the structure, okay? All right. So this handout is to assist you in selecting and focusing on an object of study for your research proposal, which is due at the end of the term. To create a assigned project, it is necessary to define the parameters of your research project. Following James and M. Henslin's explanation of how sociologists do research, I need to fix this. Sorry about that. All quality research must come in stages. Okay. So this is what you're going to do, or this is just to give you an overall view of what the structure is supposed to do for you. Part 1 describes the parameters of your object of study. The topic you select must relate to the theme of the course, for example. And this is going to be for globalization, but the principle is the same if you're doing criminology, social psychology, or any other course. Okay. So you may study globalization in women, globalization and equality, globalization in culture, globalization in sports, and so many more topics. You must connect an aspect of globalization to the domain you intend to look into for your research. Okay, so for part 2, you're going to identify 4 course readings that will assist you with developing an argument for your object of study. Reviewing the course readings, you want to look for points from the text to help you describe and explain what you want to accomplish for your work. Okay. And then part 3, you're going to develop 3 preliminary questions that will delimit or just set the parameters for the focus of your project. Okay. And then you are to connect your questions back to your topic, and I'll show you because I actually have a written example demonstrating like each structure of the essay. Okay. And then finally, part 4, you are to explain what you expect to learn by completing your research to its logical conclusion. Please explain what you hope a reader will understand after reading your completed manuscript. Okay, so this is pretty much like the 4 different sections. All right, and then next I'm just going to go to the formatting, and then I'm going to do another video reviewing the sections. Okay, all right. So the formatting for this essay is this: the essay is to be 4 to 5 pages in length. Make sure that it's double spaced and that it has 1-inch margins. Using 12-point font, and you could use Times Roman or Times New Roman. Okay. I encourage you to review Purdue OWL if you're unsure or not that confident in terms of like writing mechanics. It's a good online writing lab to review, writing style and punctuation and citation styles. Okay. For writing mechanics and use of proper citation formatting, like either ASA, APA, or MLA, or Chicago style, and you could use any of those styles as long as you're consistent using that style in the essay. Okay, but just to sort of let you know, ASA is the least popular citation form, and that's just more of sociology's way of doing formatting and citations. The more popular is APA, okay, and then MLA and Chicago are used like in the humanities and in literature. Okay, so like those are the differences. Okay, all right. So let me continue. So, oh, sorry about that. Or offer or refer to a writing manual. Be sure to follow the formatting for the assignment. If the essay is not formatted properly, the submission will not be accepted. Okay. All right, and then I also included this. Be sure to include the headings that are in bold. So I do want you to include part 1 introduction, part 2 lit review, part 3 research questions, and part 4 outcome, because this does one of 2 things. The first thing that this does is that it actually keeps you as the writer focused and helps prevent you going on tangents if that's sort of your proclivity if you're writing, right? Tangent writing is just sometimes viewed as just trying to fill in space, right? So you want to avoid that type of writing, right? So that's what also the headings do for you. But for me, what it does is, like, as I read them, these essays, and evaluate them, it gives me the opportunity to see each section, and I know exactly what I'm supposed to see for each section. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. But if you have any questions, definitely let me know either via email or in class. Okay, and then just the due date for this assignment will be Wednesday, March 6th, 2024 by 11:59. All right, unless otherwise specified. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to go through each section. Okay, good morning. So this is going to be the second video. Yeah, just edited this title and the year. Okay. So for this video is going to review the outline. So this particular video is just going to review the introduction, and then I'm going to have another video reviewing the literature review, and then the questions, and then the outcome. Okay. All right. So this is what you're going to do for section one, or the introduction part. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. So first thing is that when you start writing the essay, I don't want to see this, or I don't want any of this included in the final draft. These points are just here for you to sort of fill in, and to be able to transition between the points, or the between the sentences that you're using to create the paragraphs. Okay. And what I didn't mention in the initial video is that I also have an example of what it should look like, as well as what it should sound like. Okay. Okay. So this is what all this stuff means. So the opening sentence for the introduction, you're going to write something along these lines, and you're going to write the object of study for this research proposal will be globalization and, right? Or if you're in a different class, like let's say social psychology. So remember, for that class, you're looking at the issue of language, culture, and ideology. Okay. So you definitely have to remember what is the theme of the course that you're taking with me. Okay. All right. Now, so like when I do the example, I'm gonna talk about globalization and the law, or legal structures. Okay, and narrow it down to human rights. Okay. All right. So that's the first sentence. Now, the second set of sentences that you're going to write is that you're going to describe to your reader how you represent your object of study, meaning, how do you um, visualize or imagine what your particular topic looks like to you at this particular moment in time. Okay. So like yeah, so like that's what this point is really getting at, is how do you, right, as the writer, represent your topic. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. But like I said, I do have an example to show you once I'm done with all these four sections. Okay, now so then once you done doing that, then the next um, thing you're going to address is point B, or sorry, point C. And here it's asking you to describe the problem or issue that your research will address, right? So like for human rights, there's a lot of issues, but I'm going to be focusing on, or focusing around issues of recognition, and how human rights are supposed to protect like vulnerable members of communities, from vulnerable communities. Okay, but you wanted to your project to Investigate a certain issue or problem that's associated with your topic. Okay. And then once you write a few sentences on that, then you're going to describe to your reader how your research will contribute to the understanding of your object of study. So what this point is asking you to do is sort of explain how your research is going to add to the debate or conversation about your particular topic. All right. Now, you may not necessarily know a lot of like issues or sorry, the debates about your topic, but just sort of go off of what you know about the topic and any reading that you've done up to this moment in time. All right. So what I'm basically asking you is don't discount what you know about that topic. All right. Be able to have the confidence to be able to convey that to your reader. Okay. And then the research will help you develop um, a deeper comprehension and develop a stronger competency over the topic that you're talking about, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, and once you're done with that, then the last point you're going to write is describe to your reader how you selected the object of study, all right, or the topic that you selected. What this particular point does, it just demonstrates to your reader what is the relationship and the degree of interests that you have in this particular topic, right? Like the story that I think I shared with those with you in class the week prior was that the way that I came about of writing out my dissertation was that it happened after my mother passed away. I was on the verge of finishing my master's thesis while I was at UC Santa Barbara, and and a lot of decisions had to be made from the point that my mom passed away to the point where we're decided to move my family back to the valley into the condo that I helped her refinance about like 7, 8 years before she passed away. All right, so that's how I eventually ended up returning back to LA. Um, so then, long story short, so one day I was cleaning the condominium, getting it ready for my family, and I just needed time to think. So I started walking around Panorama City, and then sort of walking in the neighborhood, I started remembering certain things that I've experienced or witnessed living in Panorama City. So then, walking a couple of hours, that's when it finally hit me that I should do my dissertation on Panorama City. So that's how I ended up working on my dissertation, Barrioology, the spatial history of Panorama City. Okay. Now, yours doesn't have to be necessarily that dramatic or that personal, but you could say something like, well, the reason why I'm doing this topic is because I was reading in another class, or I saw this in a news story, or I read this in a newspaper, or I had a conversation with someone, or just had a general interest on that topic, and that this would be a good opportunity for you to be able to study that topic as a sociologist. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to stop the video here and then do the review for the literature review.